We're going live. It's on. I don't
Never
know.
heard that.
You sit here for myself. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Able.
Okay. I'd like to open the meeting of the Advance Town Council, Councilman River, to conduct business on behalf of the citizens of Advance, Indiana, and to hear from various departments as to progress of their activities. Public is invited to attend as an observer of the council proceedings and on occasion allow input towards a particular subject. Don't wish to speak unless recognized by the council president. Once recognized, the speaker shall stand, state their name, and state their purpose. When addressing the council, speakers shall remain on subject discussion, shall not address any new matter for further discussion. No profanity or vulgarity will be allowed when the council is in session. Those who are allowed to speak from the gallery are permitted to speak for 3 minutes the first time, 2 minutes the second time, 1 minute the last time, on to the matter of current subject. The council by statute has the final authority in all matters to this session and shall conduct the meeting in such way as it deems necessary to maintain order and proceed. If the president would like to discuss the new concern, president requests the speech card must be completed when return to clerk treasurer's office no later than Wednesday prior to the county council meeting. Forms received after that deadline will be placed on this agenda. The town council can take reasonable steps to maintain order in the meeting, including removal of any person welcome to obstructed during the meeting. That's an Indiana state law. When you're in this meeting and if you talk, you're gonna be on YouTube. So, next thing is public hearing, open bids on the town. We did not get any bids. So my recommendation is I can call some companies that sell it nationwide to police, fire, and EMS vehicles and see what they're interested in there. Get them on top of it.
It'd be better if it went to one of them anyway.
I know. Well, since I don't want to bid on it, we can do pretty much what we did from this one.
I know lots of people were interested, but they didn't want to pay near that much, so,
Nobody does.
no. It's a good deal.
I know. Well, you saw one at $18,000 or trying to sell them just a year old.
I called, got on Carvana and Bonner and tried to put it on there just to see what they would give us. And they said $1,400. So
Anyhow,
I won't be selling any cars on Carvana and Bonner.
okay. Next thing is engineering report, pay application and permits with Gary Ladd.
So they wanted to reduce because their initial change order was $39.50, and because they placed the millings on the driveway of the work, they took $700 off of that.
Ready about
That was
that?
on, and that was,
Okay.
Yeah.
and then they did, on the first change order, or the other change order, they paved more, Gary said wider. You can see it when you turn on West Wall, that is wider. When you turn on it, then as you go back.
When did you pay more?
They paved it wider than his recommendations were.
Okay.
So,
That, sure cost nothing, we didn't order it, they just did it. So that's on them.
well, if you don't want to approve the change orders, then you need to talk to Gary about that.
I'm not, because we didn't order it. Who ordered it then? Who ordered it?
You have to talk to Gary about that. I did not have anything to do with the project other than pay the bills.
So,
So you have to take that up with Gary and the
you
company.
know, this,
Somebody called me on that either.
yeah.
So that was the,
I
So you're talking right here in the corner?
How much they talk about additional amount?
Well,
Final pay amounts, there's pay app 1 and 2, one for $159,518.89, and one for $17,724.
where's the 17,017?
Well, I would assume that it's the initial change order and then with the additional, millings. Yeah, an increase of this order of $6,820.81.
Okay, we need to talk to Gary last night.
Yeah, I'd say that's something there. An A. Okay, being in business and dealing with government, airports and stuff, I can't change anything. If I change something, it's on me, it's not, they refuse to pay.
Well, they shouldn't have known we were struggling. Period.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, we know that.
I don't,
They want to widen that.
so we can table that till the next, that portion till the next meeting.
Yes. Do we want to go ahead and approve the payment of everything except for that change order?
I gotta just do it all at once,
All right.
because I gotta write the check all at once.
Okay.
The next is an agreement, due to legislative changes, that we have to have our Title VI, implementation, ADA transition plan and sidewalk assessment updated. And so his agreement to update all those plans is $1,000.
update, what are they updating?
If we have to turn in a, ADA transition
The
plan.
Title VI, the ADA transition, and the sidewalk asset
One of those deals
management.
that's required by the state, you have to do it.
Isn't it, nothing's changed?
No.
So what is it gonna cost $1,000?
Well, it will have changes because of the sidewalk maintenance that we've done since we initially did the ADA plan, and that was several years ago.
Okay.
And I believe it has to be updated annually, and it has to,
Again, one of those deals for the state wants us to pay.
That's not what the matter is. They take your property tax money away, and you're saying you gotta do more, you gotta put less money. What it falls in.
Can I get a motion to approve this proposal?
$1,000.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve, pay a plan, $1,000.
Can I get a second? Is that a second deal or?
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
and then also I put on that motion for you to sign.
Okay.
So you can sign that
Okay, yeah.
there.
Okay. Next thing is we have,
Oh, I've got 2 more agreements over
I
here.
know,
Next agreement is, because we annually have to update our asset management plan for the streets with LTAP, for an estimated not to exceed fee of 800, and he's had that fee for the last 4 years.
that's the part of the community crossings deal where
Yeah.
we look at all the streets and say, this is what needs to be done. Then we can apply for a grant for the streets and they pay 75 or 80%. Motion to approve that?
This is good for next year.
Yeah, he'll do it. Yeah, it has to be done by December 1st of this year for us to be able to qualify to receive CCMG funds.
Any motion for that?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Can you get a second? All in favor, say aye.
And it was, and then the last agreement Gary had was for, to develop a scope of work and the construction process and preparation for the CCMG application to submit to NDOT by October 31st of this year for 100.
Okay, in other words, that's just doing the engineering, the, fill out the paperwork for the community crossing agreement, right? Another step that you, I mean, get a motion to pay that one?
So that's submitted to NDOT for you to sign.
In a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
That's all the agreements.
Every day work, $2,900. All that papers.
You do, but engineers, we should make that kind of video.
Ridiculous.
This meeting is,
Okay.
that's when your meeting is right.
Right there. Okay. Next, approve the meeting minutes for July 14th, 2025 council meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the July 14th meeting.
Second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Consider claims for August 19th, 2025.
Yeah, I make a motion to accept the claims for all time.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. All opposed?
And claims were $173,507.03.
You just send the copies over to sign.
It just goes on. Reconciliation for the month of July. Reconciled balance is $2,494,875.43, and the fund amount was the same. So, and I have appropriation reports for the clerk and Brad. I think I left them on the desk. Sorry, I printed them off. I printed them, I read it.
Next up, council consider clerk treasurer adjustment for July.
And no questions on under appropriation reports. Okay. For July, there was a fire department, contract adjustment of $182.73. And then, correction of incorrectly applied payment for 149.20, and they offset each other. One was adding, one was subtracting. So the total adjustments for July are negative $182.73.
Make a motion to accept the clerk treasurer's adjustment for July.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Okay, so you can sign that one. But don't sign here, I'll just sign damn, you can't sign that one. There's no update for Trex. With IHCBA, that's Area 4, so that's assistance with the electric and propane that we've done for years. But I've always just signed it and submitted it, but it needs to be approved by the council. and you sign it, Jim, and then submit it. So if you have any questions, there's just a couple sections I reached out to them just for clarification, because in section 10 of the agreement, it talks about the moratorium timeframe, and then talking about, them having 14 days to receive an application. However, last year, we sometimes were notified for 4 to 6 weeks, sometimes 2 months, that they even had one. So we're hoping that the communication again is better this year. So if there's no updates, we just need to.
Get a motion to approve that system. Really doesn't cost us anything.
It doesn't, and it helps our residents.
I make a motion for Sherry to sign the
Jim,
interior assistance program agreement.
Second.
All fair, say aye.
so here, it's just right there, and then I'll submit it. Okay. So after attending conference, we had a really good speech by the mayor of Mishawaka in regards to Senate Bill 1. So I made kind of the state of the town and some recommendations that I'm going to read out to the council. Senate Bill 1 is placed undue burden on residents and schools, amenities that residents expect, such as streets with no potholes, police and fire protection, nice parks to go to, and improvements to the overall city or town will have limited resources to maintain. Cities and towns are now expected to do more with less. State government has impeded our communities, and we need to voice these issues back to the state. Being the smallest municipality in the county, our revenues are already minimal. Ending in 2027 is the public safety lift. This revenue has assisted our local police and fire in what Sheriff Nielsen fought so hard to establish. Being a municipality under 3,500 residents, the county will adopt an additional rate for us in 2027. EMS and fire can potentially receive 0.4. This does not apply to police. Municipalities can request an additional rate of 1.2, but again, this is determined by the county depending on the county's needs, and they can take up to 75% of that revenue. Circuit breakers are still in effect, in addition to more credit and lowering of our net assessed value. Police will need to find additional resources of revenue to support their department, just as the park has been requested to do, what the fire department does, and what the town does. Grants, fines, tickets, code enforcement, and revenue streams to name a few. Not that everyone needs to be cited, and none of these have been utilized to date. And this is one of the things that many municipalities and some of the presenters spoke to at the conference.
One thing I have a problem with is, never in the history of Advance they ever reflected a fine. Never. Or any police department's ever been here, fire department's ever been here, we've never collected a fine.
And that's fine.
We shouldn't be forcing the law to collect money.
But I think, I'm saying,
But you can't just say, I want all this and take all this, and then, and there's other departments that are gonna be needed. But hang on, let me
We
finish.
didn't ask for anything we didn't need.
A big area of savings is tightening of vehicle usage. We have requested mileage logs, and to date, none have been submitted to the council.
Mileage laws.
Yeah, mileage logs.
Yeah, and then I already paid that in the fuel tax.
No, not you, from the police department.
I reported in the last board.
Yeah, you reported them, but we don't have a from and to, and there needs to be accountability. And again, I talked
You
to
want me to
many,
write a log down everywhere I go?
if you're using the police car. Or I have another recommendation to the council, because it was really concerning to me that there was 26,000 miles put on the car in 1 year to date. That's a lot of miles.
That's normal. You talk to the sheriff's department or any departments in this county, who are officers who are on
Sheriff's
call.
Department covers the whole county. You cover 8 miles going this way.
No, I'm
one
on
of the
call.
things,
I'm on
because-
call, Sherry. I drive it everywhere I go so I can respond in a minute.
And one of the things I would like to recommend to the council, since mileage logs aren't being utilized, that the council, and this is for police vehicles or any kind of vehicle in the future that's ever purchased, GPS tracking. So that way you don't have to worry about keeping a log. I would also recommend that there's no,
Who's gonna track the GPS?
it's on that.
Yeah, but who's gonna keep that?
If you want my office to keep it, I can keep it. I'd also recommend that, I really think that the gas needs to be reduced on the budget, and I believe that I would recommend that the deputy, police vehicle, to save on gasoline repairs and maintenance on all of them, not be utilized anymore. Also, with uncertainties, I recommend cutting back the park budget. And lastly, for increases for the town, I recommend a salary increase of 2% within the 26 budget.
Thing is, do we know what's coming down the road? Do we know
I
how
know
much,
for next year,
how much money we're gonna get next year? Do you know how much?
I know that it's,
Can you tell me exactly how much we're gonna get and what we're not gonna get?
yes,
Well, how much?
we are being reduced. It's an estimate from DLGF of $16,000. Last year with circuit breakers, we only lost about 2,000. That's a huge jump for us. And and every year it's gonna increase and increase. Because the homestead credits are gonna be adjusted, we're gonna have over 65 credit, every household, the circuit parameters gets a $300 credit, we are gonna get hit. And we have to find places to save money.
I looked at Senate Bill 1, it's not as bad as you think.
It is very bad,
No,
Jim.
it's
I mean,
It's
saying
not
that it's
that
not.
bad. They give discounts to disabled veterans. How many we got in disabled veterans? How many people over 65
Business,
we have?
personal property taxes are gonna be, going away. There's a lot of stuff that's gonna be amended
No,
on that.
Bill, did you say you didn't pay any personal property tax the last 2 years?
Every year.
And
But that's, the scale on
Inventory.
that's gonna be changing.
16 or 1700 bucks this year.
Okay.
It goes up at least $100 a year.
But that's gonna be going away. So, it's all changing. And I recommend that we have a fiscal analysis done to know how we're really gonna be
I
impacted.
agree with that. And when you were at that thing, I asked you to talk to current associates and look at a physical analysis, which would cover like 2 to 3 years down the road, what we need to do. And there are some things in Senate Bill 1 that would give us some more money if we fill in the blanks. There's some things that has to be done.
That as these reductions happen, I don't wanna see the town using up all the cash reserves that we've worked too hard to build up and just spending money. We have $16,000 we have to cut this year. So where do you propose we cut it?
Well, I think we're gonna think about it.
Well, we have to have a budget hearing on September 8th.
Okay.
So, I mean, we need to talk about it right now because I need to figure out the budget numbers.
Okay.
I'm gonna get it something on paper with all the budget numbers and all that stuff so we can review.
We'll have to have another meeting then.
Okay.
So, but I do think the gas budget needs to be cut. So, that's one of my recommendations.
There's a lot of things we can do, but do we actually need to do them? That's the thing, if I want to make the maximum impact of what, on return on investment, or the dollars we spend, tax dollars we spend with each department, are we getting a return on investment? That's all I'm looking for. I'm
I
not
guess
care
my
about
question,
mileage, I don't
Brad,
care
is
about-
why are you so against being accountable for where you go?
Because I'm not gonna take the time to do that.
But, I mean, why is the mileage though still?
You're on the place I go every day.
But within 6 years, you're gonna ask for another car, we may not have the revenue to do. Being responsible with the mileage and high mileage is also incurring tire maintenance, it's, oil changes, it's car maintenance, things breaking down. It's not just the usage of the car and driving and using all the gasoline.
I have made my own recommendation to the town board president on what I should think we should do.
Right.
Now, I have to say right now, every year that I've been at least close to $16,000 of my budget.
That's not true.
Well, how did I get $140,000 in the bank in 6 years?
Well,
How did we have the money that I had to spend for that, to buy this truck? In 6 years, there was $140,000.
And that is cash reserves.
Because I hadn't
Because
spent it.
your budget was based solely on general fund, because the lit public safety was to pay for your deputy.
Well, I had the same budget as Rick here, and he spent all of this.
I understand, are you wanting me to give, or the council to give you $100,000 to just go spend?
No,
Okay.
no, I'm just
That's not
saying,
gonna happen.
I'm just saying that I haven't been reckless.
Your budget has been solely based off the general fund.
And the thing is, if we have to do an additional appropriation to make up the difference for certain situations, I can see that. I don't see pulling the money out of there unless we just have to, but we need to take a good look at what we got and not just jump at anything. I mean, if we have to get rid of a car, let's get rid of a car. If we have to get rid of a deputy, let's get rid of a deputy. Let's make sure we have to do that before we do that. Okay? That's my saying.
Well, I think a take-home vehicle for a deputy, I don't think it's in the employee handbook, which you guys agreed to. If that was returned, that would be a lot of gas that's not being used.
Well, that's-
But again, I know Sean's doing a lot of moonlighting, but where's the accountability on anybody where they're going? You know, so he was working all these moonlighting jobs and not being here and racking up miles and everything else on that extra car. And I know that was a concern,
That could be a concern if we just parked it anything.
so.
And he uses only when he's on duty here. That would be an option. But we need to look at that. So-
But I'm just getting the council recommendations, because for me as a taxpayer, I'm very conscientious of where my dollars are going, and I would hope that everybody here who are citizens of our town for the same money.
I do too, but the thing is, I wanna make sure we have what we need. And there's certain things that we've done in the past that we probably didn't need, but there's certain things we absolutely didn't need. If it's a public safety issue, that's what I look at. If there's a safety issue where people are gonna get hurt or injured, I don't give a shit what it costs. We'll come up with the money somehow. That can be done. We can file for grants, we can do all that kind of stuff. But we need to make a good, hard look at what we're doing, because we didn't pass this bill. The
No,
state did.
no, but we are reaping the repercussions of this bill.
But that's still coming in until 2027.
Don't think we'll get an increase on that.
Don't know.
No.
I've been talking to the council.
So if the council wants to have another, meeting to discuss that, then when does the council want to hold that meeting?
What do you think, Dave? Maybe I want to break it down and take a look at everything. I don't want, you know,
It would need to be next week, because I have to have 10 days prior to our budget hearing, I have to have everything uploaded in the gateway.
anything going on next week, man? Same?
Monday.
Maybe
Monday,
Monday.
we'll make
Okay. 25th? Okay. I'd like to see a list of what we have now versus proposed cuts and what the benefits of each of those cuts are. And I'm not looking to cut anybody for anything, where we may have to adjust some stuff, like I said. We have to sell other pickup truck, we may have to sell, get rid of the part-time deputy. I mean, the thing is, whatever it takes to make sure we get safety for the people, that's all I care about. If we have enough reserves, we should be okay.
At 7 p.m.
Yep.
But I still think there needs to be accountability, and there hasn't been.
That's our fault.
That is your fault, but as residents, again, it's their money too, and I would want accountability.
I pay taxes here too, Terry.
I'm saying everybody, I'm not just saying, I'm just saying everybody sitting here as a resident. We have a right to know. So last thing is the Ames Ideas Summit is on the, October 21st through the 23rd. It's down in Ridge Lick. If any council members want to go, I'll reach out to Amanda, because I'm just presenting it now because it just opened up today. Is there anybody that would want to go to the Ames Summit in Ridge Lick? No.
What was it?
The 21st through the 23rd of October.
I can't.
You can't, okay. Do you want to go, Dale?
No.
I'll see if Amanda wants to go. I am actually getting, accreditation and receiving certification as a CMO, as a certified municipal officer from AIM at that summit. So, and that's gonna be diving deeper into SEA 1 or Central 1, 2, which they have a lot of classes on that, and I'd like to be more updated on that. So the cost of the total estimated expenses for that conference is $895.
Did that approved now?
Yes, because registration opens tomorrow.
The motion approved, Sherry or, another council member to attend to the,
Is that per person or is that?
That'd be that'd be per person.
so
Yeah, I think I want to go.
let's approve it for the amount of money for 2 people to go and if only one goes, if that's always.
I'll make the motion.
I'm required to have so many hours, and they're gonna be changing legislation. I believe the pass is gonna have training hours as well.
I'm not training.
And
I'm not going to work.
so when Jared reaches out, I'll have him send an agreement for financial analysis.
Right. The thing is, we need to be looking 2 to 3 years down the road, just not this year, next year.
The cuts are gonna go all the way through 30.
I understand. We need to look down the road.
5 years.
But they're talking to the county council, they're talking about bumping up the local income tax and cover what they're losing. And some of that should come back to us if we ask for it.
If their needs are met.
But they bumped up the 2.9 and made all the needs they have because the only public safety is 1.5 and that would give them the rest of it.
It depends. There's a lot of variables in this,
Keep money, whatever, I don't feel comfortable with any of it.
that we have to look at and
That's how I look at it.
deal with it.
Run associates, yes. Okay, so we got a approval summit for 1 or 2 people. Do we get money for that?
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
Yeah, approval. Okay, Park.
Okay. Okay, so, we had, an appointment with Trent and Ankle to take a look at our water heater. This we water for 2.5 years. They were supposed to be today after 4:30, before 7, and they were gonna show them, so I'm gonna call them tomorrow and find out what the holdup was. But I'll be nice about it because I know they do other stuff in the city. So. We had the yard sale, community yard sale on August 2nd and 3rd. Kayla spearheaded that, and I think we had about a dozen or so addresses that ended up participating this year, so a little up there. Kayla and Lindsay are also working on the Bill's Birdhouse project. I know Lindsay had told me today that you guys have developed a sponsorship tier level. Or did she? Okay.
It's been a while.
Okay, so they're looking, these are gonna be more permanent type birdhouses like the Hollywood, so they don't have to worry about falling apart and they'll look good and last for years. So the girls are working on getting a tiered sponsorship, thanks to the community, or any businesses or groups of people that want to sponsor a birdhouse can do that. So we'll have more
I was
information on that.
told that if you talk to Lily's, now I can see if I can get the contact information,
Okay,
that there is an easy $1,000, they'll pass the money out like the water, but it's only $1,000, which is better than $1.
yeah, well, that would go far on something like that, so.
Get the contact information, I got a call, I don't have anything.
Update on the RC track, the guys have gone out there, I don't know if you've seen it the past couple days. They totally leveled it and rebuilt the whole thing, whole new design, more hills, more jumps. It looks amazing right now. So, and they have a race coming up in the beginning of September. So I'll have more updates on that as they give them to us. I did express the disappointment in how it had gotten and let them know that, you know, and they knew, you know, it was like one of those, our bad, it fell on us, it's just, you know, they hadn't even been racing, so they were like, we're not racing, you know, it's like, but it still has to be maintained. So if you don't do that, another group will. So, reach out to Keystone, their manager's supposed to get back with us tomorrow about getting some weed killer, some Roundup for the walking trail, now that we've got it mowed, done out there, super mowed down as low as you can get, and then Hopper's crew got out there and mowed, a lot this past week, of course, with no rain, it's still looking pretty good out there, so. The Make Your Mark at the mural, was a hit, we had quite a few people show up on that, and, got some coverage on several news stations. And Anita's since gone out and finished the basic part of the building. At that time, when she was finishing stuff up, we discussed going up, and she's got the paint and stuff that she can do vinyl, and she just needed the official go ahead. I don't know if she's waiting for you guys to actually respond on that, on the email.
What do you think? Dale, Sam,
What are we gonna do?
talking about painting the
vinyl part above it to just kind of tie it all in.
She's got the paint and stuff.
Yeah, she's got vinyl paint before the murals. We just give it a more finished look instead of having the mural and tan.
Who's gonna pay that every year then?
She said it doesn't need to be painted, the paint she uses will last. Now Sherry's concern was if we ever had to replace.
I got ocean front property in Arizona.
I'm just telling you what the artist said. I'm not gonna get into an argument on that. I'm telling you what the artist said. There's specific paint for doing murals. I'm sure no one's paying people $30,000 to paint on vinyl if it's only gonna last 1 year.
See. So when you say Dale, I don't care what I got to road.
Sherry's concern, which was very legitimate, was what happens if we need to replace that for some reason? And then my response was, they would replace it with white, so at least it would tie in with the white that's in the mural. You know, so,
I was
Yeah.
concerned keeping it in, that was my concern too.
I'm just not convinced that it's just their line.
I mean, we can get something from her that look, you know,
As if it's like.
see where she's done it before on vinyl and see how it's holding up.
Yeah, if you got somewhere,
Like something to compare.
because
The
vinyl,
only reason we need to replace that vinyl would be if we had severe hail damage or tornado in
Yeah.
the building, or we wouldn't be there anyhow. So
Exactly. Or fire.
it doesn't matter.
fire first, we put that in,
But that's the update on that. But I can reach out to Anita and see if she's used that
Yeah,
paint
that's
elsewhere.
my only concern is, and sticking to the line.
Yeah.
Make sure, double check it.
Yep.
It's not gonna cost us anymore, that's one.
No,
But, you know, if it's not gonna last, doesn't make any difference what it costs.
exactly.
Yeah, that's my only thing, was sticking to the line.
We have got a day of service with Pestle. Again, I've reached out with Kim. We're trying to get something, waiting to hear back from her about getting them out there again. That was a good deal last year.
They were so great to work with too.
I've already touched base with Carrie, with the Jeepers, and we have got a date for Friday, October 24th for Jeepers Creepers 2, since Jeepers Creepers was very popular last year. She was all aboard, but she said, these are the dates I have available. Well, last year we did it on Friday the 25th, so this year it's gonna be Friday the 24th, basically the same weekend that we did last year, only, you know, the dates all
With the cuts and filling and stuff, I may have to get a grant for the candy.
Say what?
May have to get a grant for the candy.
Oh. But she was pretty excited, you know, she was all about that, because I think they had a lot of fun last year. And I was like, oh, I just wanted to jump in and try to get it rolling a little earlier this year, so people weren't quite as, you know, short on time, they can plan things out a little more, that kind of thing. And I think that's all we have right now. I did see your note about I did see your note about the minutes, so. Share.
What's that?
I did see your notation on here about
Just
the full
make
minutes, so
yeah,
I went
so-
ahead and I screenshot what you had on the minutes from the town, and I'll copy the same format.
Yeah, so just make sure you have that all in favor or do roll call, because you have to have
Yeah.
every vote noted.
Okay.
So, yeah, just, yeah. In the future.
Yep.
You've been working with Greg Sutton, had anything with him, or?
We're including him in all the correspondence. He apologized for not being able to participate in the mural day, but they were harvesting hay or something, so.
It's summertime, and
Yeah, so, but we're including him on all the communications and stuff, so.
just make sure you're not cutting him short.
Yep.
Anything else?
Nope.
We need to approve minutes for the Parkland meeting. Utility contractor report.
Both water and wastewater plants are running as they should with no violations to report. Eva Carr will be out of the wastewater plant on August 12th to install the new control board for the generator. The gates of the water plant need some attention. They appear to be realigned. The pump and well quotes were sent out last month, nothing else to report. Pumped gallons, 1,556,000, billed 696,000 for 66% loss.
We gotta figure out where we're losing water. I think it's 150,000 gallons of water we lost.
Right.
Which is
And we have to treat that,
20% more than we built.
and the thing, we have to treat that water. That's
Somewhere.
expensive to treat that water.
So if these numbers are correct, then we have to find the leak where it's at. Are you getting, meter readings from the farmers that are getting water at the first of the month?
Yeah. All the farmers that are pulling water from the hydrant, have hydrant meters, and that's report. Everything else goes through co-op.
And you didn't have any tinker training last.
So with their usage with the meters, the farmers have 700,000.
No,
No.
I talked to Brian Scott, and he said something about maybe 20 or 25,000 for what they've used for Springfield. So it's
Well,
not,
that's what
it's somewhere, it's going somewhere, where the hell's going on. We had a leak like that once before, and it turned out being underneath the sidewalk. But how do we find this? How do we find this leak? Do we call London again, ask them to run the whole system, or have we already tried to run the whole system?
Well, and Troy said the discrepancies that are this big are always in the summertime. And as soon as it cools off. And historically, it's done that in the last few years. So,
That's fine, and then we gotta figure out where water's going. We've got these kind of leaks, we have to figure out where water's
How
going.
are we gonna achieve it? How are we gonna get that? So last time they looked for water, well, they looked for water last time, they couldn't find it, kept saying, well, it's not coming up out of the ground. They found some leak right underneath the sidewalk, only it's going in directly to the program, we never know. It's leak.
Somewhere we gotta figure out where this leak is. Cause that's.
Because the main meters, I mean, they check that, right?
they do daily readings, yeah.
But it's been calibrated or whatever.
So has the meter ever been checked in the middle of the night? And see if it's running wild in the middle of the night?
Well, the other thing I'm thinking about is,
Well, I mean, make sure.
Well, and the other thing Troy had mentioned a long time go and bring a master leader at the south end of town because there's all those lines going out. You know, that could have something and we've got miles of lines out there.
And then if we figure out that, and then start shutting sections off. And watch the meter, and see if the meter's slowed down.
Well,
I mean, is that feasible, Keith?
Possibility. I do know, about 3 months ago, when I checked the sewer lines, or not sewer, storm drains, there was no chlorine smell, so it's not going back in.
that's what I was gonna ask, is there anything going into the storage?
But after that last, when we found it, every once in a while we'll check them, and I have not smelled all that chlorine.
Well, like Sherry said, the thing is, the storm drains are not what's happening in town, so we gotta look at it, I don't know.
Well, you understand what I'm saying, is to check the meter at night, late at night, midnight or so, whatever. And then if it's running wild, start setting sections of the town off to see if we can pinpoint which section is where.
Yeah, we put a shut
So
off,
we don't have to check the whole town, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, did you put a shut off down there where it converts from the 12th to the 4th at the south end of town?
Yes.
Okay, so if we shut that off, that
You
would.
can't shut the water off.
Well,
I
Sam
don't
will
mind
say,
have to.
Sam will say,
The problem is, and it's not really a problem, but it is, if you shut it off, you have to shut it completely off,
And a boil order,
and then you will have to have a board.
Yep.
Which,
that's okay.
I mean, it's not.
But it's not gonna be on.
Thorntown has one for 3 weeks, so I mean, what's the
Well, what I'm saying is you're not digging it, now you didn't shut the water off for a couple of minutes to check the meter.
It don't matter. That's the law, because what they say, I mean, I understand what you're saying, it's stupid, but what they're saying is, once that water quits flowing, bacteria can form.
once the water passes,
That's the main reason why.
It's the same idiot that says you have to have a 6-inch air gap when you're filling in the top.
Exactly.
well, what they're
That's
saying,
why when we have to shut it off, I try my darndest to get at least a little trickle.
Well, then leave it down the little curve. Don't shut it
Well-
completely off.
They're hard.
the state law
A little
says,
trickle for a 4-inch is.
You could be able to do all
Well, yeah, but-
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is if you start shutting it off and the reading starts coming down, if somebody's watching the meter while you're shutting it off, you know,
state law says, once the water pressure drops below 20 PSI for any reason, you have to do a boil order for that section or whatever. I have to do that in the park run. If I pump too much water and an incoming pump says it's going down to say 30 PSI coming in, I gotta shut down and use tank. If I do, but everybody else gonna have to go and boil water. So I don't know what we can do, but I think we need to absolutely do something. Even if we have to set the water up and have boil water, we gotta do something. We can't just keep doing this.
And Troy had mentioned the master meter at the end of town, and he'd also recommended M.E. Simpson, their detection.
speak up, I could hear you.
M.E. Simpson, he'd given a quote to the council several months ago for a leak detection, and he'd also recommended a meter south of town. So he's given options.
What did it cost for that?
I don't remember.
Let's come back to
I
that.
don't remember that.
I mean,
I don't remember saying anything on
Yeah, M.E. Simpson is like my spring, I think.
let's see if we can dig that up and bring that up on the agenda for the next meeting we're having.
You want Troy here?
And wouldn't hurt to talk to him. We'll try it and talk. We gotta figure out a way to
Well,
fix this.
and we do, because with the AWWA audits, those are eventually gonna be tied into funding, and if you have significant loss, we may not have to fund it.
So what is an average loss for a town? I mean, in general, is zero.
No, it's, I think
and there's a lot of ways we're running.
it's,
We were running about 10 to 15, we were doing it for a while.
now here we are running at 65%.
Just trying to get speed.
Yeah, no,
So, yeah, we were at 10 to 15%. The beat, new school, new storm drain. We dropped back, we were around 15%, correct, Keith?
No, that was 15, 14, 15.
Yeah, somewhere.
So they, if I remember what Troy said,
And
that's
now it's just started gradually coming back up, now we're way up here. Somehow we gotta figure out what's going on, we gotta.
again, I don't care how we do it, we gotta figure out what we did, because the cost of pumping 800,000 gallons of water is the same as pumping 1 gallon of water, and it's not cheap, because if you're paying minimum, 4,000 gallons, you're paying $40 for
Well, it's the wear and tear on the pump, it's.
it. And they can't quite figure out.
It's
The expense of the electricity for the pump, all that stuff.
hard on the well. You know, so.
Next thing.
Locates, inputting locates into the month, and mainly most of them were the, relocates for out there, so I did the clear on the computer. I didn't do any this month, because I did them all in June and July at the same time. Fixed the door, town hall, checked for a couple of water leaks, and that's pretty much all we've done, pretty quiet.
And have a report.
for July, 2 service requests, no poles installed, and no emergency outages.
Okay. The input commissioners report. INPA has put a hold on any more solar parks. They're not gonna put any more in, because pretty much what they're saying is the money for the new Green Deal, the tax abatement that was given everybody in city to put those in, is gone, or will be gone September 1st. So without that abatement, the CEO said they would hold off on even talking about any more solar parks until if the administration change, if we get a new government in 3 or 4 years, things maybe go back to that, but right now, they're not gonna be, and they're working really hard to get a 200 megawatt generator at Anderson. It's a natural gas powered generator, and it's a backup generator. What happens is, the network has a continuous amount of power pumped into it from the coal power plant. Then, when the coal power plants reach their maximum, then the natural gas powered plants pick up the difference. But they have to have these things maintained by people 24/7, because sometimes they have maybe a 1 or 2 hour warning to bring up more power, and they do that. And it's pretty expensive for us to maintain that part of it, but INPA's doing a good job of keeping the costs down by struggling with the prices of gas. They can't get a discount because of the fact that they would use gas all the time. They had a gas, they were using gas every day, then it would be a different story. But what they have is, when the gas company can't cut them off, and it has happened, when the gas companies cut them off, they've got fuel backup, but it's only good for about 55 hours. They consume that much fuel, and I forget how many thousands, hundreds of thousands of gallons they got stored that take care of it. So that's what's going on with that right now, and they're still working to try to keep the cost down by doing everything. Like I said, those guys, sometimes I think they work magic for money. But we're not looking for any, in fact, that that's,
Tracking factor,
tracking factor by that, isn't it?
the second quarter.
Yeah, so your tracking factor goes down, that's what a fuel cost that they have to maintain at the plants. That's going down. So that's what we do, well pump issues. We got a quote from Carolina Midwest. To do well number 3, $33,084.
Well, 3 and 4.
But it says just,
No, it's so. Well 3 is 33,000, and well 4 is 30,000.
That's what I was thinking.
That 70,000, so 79.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, 33,000 for 3 and 37,000 for 4. 70,380 to do both of them. What do I want to do, guys?
I talked to Troy about this, and I said, anybody else do it cheaper? He said, part of the, work is they have to bring a service truck and a crane in to get them out. And he said with them being, I assume those are the original, pumps that have been in there since it was installed in 2008. So those are 18 years old. I don't know what the life is on those, but I don't either.
So,
But we do have, I mean, depreciation, we do have money in depreciation, and that's what depreciation is for, is for things like this.
So we've got the $70,000.
We do, yeah, it'll cut it down, but we have it.
And I believe that's something because right now, the wells are diminishing and it's pretty much what happened down there in the well center. It's on the road or South Street, but the well center started diminishing and getting ironing them. We don't want to have, we get really good water. We want to keep the wells going. And again, motion to approve the,
Make a motion to approve the well.
yes, second.
Section of well number 3 and well number 4 for $70,380.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
And that's another reason we get your credit for large ones. That's a little where it comes out.
I will,
Well, we don't know that, but it probably is.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is, you know.
and I will have to do an additional appropriation for next month, and to move that money from depreciation to the LM.
So when they do that, when we have more water extra, we run all together.
Well, if they shut it, well, so when the wells shut down, they don't have to, well, they're gonna have to lower the water pressure because the water's still gonna come from the tower. Unless it takes some true need to do it.
And he said it's gonna take him 2 or 3 days to do this project, but I would think it would do one and then the other,
Right.
so it's still have power.
You know, there's only 2 wells. The town, actually, there's 2 wells at the old sawmill. And there's one out.
Yeah, but those 3 wells are big cap. Yeah. The ones down there in Selma, they were really shallow wells, they were like 40 or 50 feet deep. The one out, like Red Creek was pretty deep, but
That was really good water wells on.
anyhow, next up. Fire report.
13 EMS, 4 motor vehicle, 3 canceled, 1 fire, and 2 people in distress.
People distressed is I call them can't get out, seen dead, trademark of people live. Police report.
9 runs last month. We had an accident, we had one of the things I tried to mention the other night, we were talking about National Night Out, but, we had an investigation, a lady had left her kids home, somebody was knocking on the door, they were afraid to go to the door. Dan was on duty, they called me, I called Dan quick, he went over there. One thing you gotta be really careful about is that most of the time when people break into houses, they knock on the door, they leave, and they come back, kick the door in. If your kids don't come to the door, or somehow they don't know anybody's home, your kids are gonna get caught in the middle of a burglary. So, you gotta be really careful. I had Dan, we had a talk with the kids about that. What I recommend people tell their parents, their kids, is to say, Dad's in the shower, Mom ran over to the neighbors, can you come back in an hour? Or something like that. If they're burglars, have the kids not open the door, say that through the door, and then, the burglars will leave, they'll be gone. If it's somebody that really wants to talk to them, they'll come back. And just have them come back when the parents are there, but have to be really careful. That was one of the runs we had. We had somebody in town here that was receiving threats from out of state, didn't know who it was. Joe Johnson had a stroke, somebody called in to make sure his dog was being taken care of. Some girl, ex-boyfriend had taken a video, she was afraid it was gonna end up on the internet, so we had a police report on that. And, Daryl McKinney hit the telephone pole out here. Gary Cummins, his mother lives in the little greenhouse here, she called me and, her husband had fallen and he had scraped his leg and was bleeding really bad. I called Sean with a tourniquet to get over there, called dispatch and had the fire department dispatch. She did a really good job, she got the bleeding stopped before we got there, so. She said it was arterial and it was splurting, so, I knew Sean was on duty, so I called him. But yeah, it was pretty good month, except for a couple things. We had a vandalism, started as a vandalism reporting job on one of my employees. He's had some problems here in town before. I gave him another chance, helped him buy a car, he even got alcohol, went off the deep end, started calling, telling me how much he, texting me, telling me how much he hated me. And was watching me sit in town here. And when I ran around the back of the town hall to get gas, I saw him run out of job on, and it was 8:30 at night, there was no reason for him to be in there. I went over there and checked, and he turned all the gas, all the fryers and everything up on high, trying to burn the building down, so he ended up getting locked up that night. He got arrested with an incident where he was, charged with intimidation for yelling and screaming at Sam, so he's had a history of that. I tried to give him another chance, it didn't work out. Somebody broke into Wanda Carter's barn and stole a compressor first of the month. I think it was the same night, Don Starcher was remodeling the house at 900 and 300 South. And, somebody broke in there that night and stole, went and drive back on a ladder and a couple of things. I think it happened the same night. Kind of a strange deal at Wanda's house, they broke in, they kicked in 2 doors on the same barn. So I don't know if there was 2 guys each kicking on different doors, they both got in at the same time and didn't realize they didn't need to kick in 2 doors. So I don't know, I need to talk to Travis Suffolk, Travis is there, he's on the sheriff's department, that's his grandmother, find out what's going on with that. When I started here in Advance, we were getting 35 to 40 runs a month. And we were, first year I made 38 reports. Last year we made 1 report. Reports typically are more serious events, so the number of reports are made. I've done that by being accessible and available. And if you notice, I'm always wearing a black t-shirt and gray pants, because if somebody calls me in the middle of the day, whenever I'm off duty, I put my shirt on and I'm on duty. I try to be available. And I think that's been a big part of it. The whole thing with the Pop-Tarts was to build trust. If you guys don't call me and if I'm not available and I don't return phone calls, we can't fix the things in this town that need to be fixed law enforcement wise. And I felt we've had a pretty good partnership in that. It's kind of hard for me to sit here in the 35 years I've been a police officer to be asked to be held accountable when you should already trust me. I've never had anybody not trust me. The police truck that we're trying to sell, we paid $10 for because the chief of police at Whitestown was my college intern and I busted my butt for a year training. Now he paid us back by helping Advance. We're trying to sell it for $10,000, we paid $10 for it. So, I'll be honest with you, people like me that try to save money, try to help the town of Advance, aren't people that do dishonest things. So it does hurt me, it hurts my feelings, is for somebody to sit here and tell me I need to be held accountable. Okay, I drove the truck, I wear my uniform, I lay my clothes up before I go to bed. If any of you call, I don't think there's anybody in this room that have ever called me and I didn't return a call as soon as I could. But I lay it out every night to be ready. I go to bed ready for whatever you guys need, okay? I have an edge because of that. I've been accused of never carrying a gun. I always have a gun. The only time I don't have a gun is when I'm in my house. Okay, but when carrying it out on the hip and being all that, it makes me less approachable. I do this on purpose. So I just wanted to let you guys know that this is my town, you are my people. I'm gonna do everything I can. Now, some of the things that Sherry had recommended, I've already recommended to the town board president. Okay, that's not something I want to make public. It's something that these decision makers here need to decide how bad it's going to be, and we'll do what we have to do to to try to give the best police protection to this town that we can and what we can afford. We had a great national night out. We've had a great week with the bureaus. Things are going really well in this town. It's the safest town in Boone County without a doubt. I had an anonymous donor come this week and give us riot helmets and a shield donated to us. I don't know how much they cost, over $1,000 around this. It's kind of ironic when we see the Ku Klux Klan riots, protests and stuff. We now have people that are giving us equipment that we didn't have to pay for. And it's good equipment. It's the stuff all police departments use that we didn't have to buy. But, I just want to let everybody know that I don't want anybody to doubt my commitment to this town. I drive the police truck everywhere I go, because in case you call, I can respond. I wear my police uniform. I would love to be able to put a pair of shorts on. Okay, I'm a shorts guy. I wear narcotics, I wore shorts all winter. But now I wear this so I can respond and look professional. That's all I have on that, Jim.
Okay.
You wanted to ask about vacation time?
Now,
Well, and I want to clarify, Brad, when I talk about accountability, the only thing I was referring to is mileage, not what you've done for the town, not how you perform your job, just that. And it's been a request.
these guys here are my chain of command. Okay? You keep care of money and you keep track of it and make sure we don't mess up that way. These guys here are the policy
And
makers.
Amanda, who is not here tonight, had concerns on that, and it was just kind of going on. So there are concerns. Maybe they don't have any, but she did. She's not here to speak to that tonight.
It's okay. She really, when we talked about that, I guess, and she's not.
So-
We'll take care of what we have to take care of. Let's move on to Comcast poll attachment.
Okay. Amy, I was in here setting up the live stream. Amy had a meeting with their attorneys today to negotiate the agreement, so that's where it is.
Okay. And we can't move forward with anything on Comcast until we have the Comcast poll attachment agreement. INPA has already given part of the upgrades that they need to go from 200 south to Dover, but we're not gonna do anything until they give us the money for that. They have to pay us before we have any work done. We have to have this in place before we even go to that next. So there's a lot of steps, and maybe a year or so before Comcast ever gets a fiber. I was just hearing Marvin, it's not. Okay, anything else on that? BCF one, did we find anybody? It's things are right there.
So the numbers, maybe?
Okay. See if I can't turn this. Somebody did. Okay, agreement with grant administrator, that's the Mendenhall Associates. They want to, there's a $15 for one-time fee. Their services include the application for a planning grant, which was something we really need to do, is get a planning grant so we know what we should be doing, and we've got a plan to do something. If you don't have a plan, you don't have anything. So help us get a grant for a plan, and then hire somebody to do the plan through the grant, so we need to do. Any questions about that? There are all kinds of courses out there right now, impinging upon our outer limits of admins. You guys want to make a motion to approve that?
One question. Talking about all these budget cuts and all that stuff we're gonna get, we're gonna waste money on something like that. We're not gonna have the money to do anything. You know, we're getting budget cuts from the state for everything. Are we gonna be able to go ahead and do anything?
Well, the budget's
I mean,
got,
that's my question.
budget's cuts won't come this year, be able to be coming in 26.
Well, I'm talking about down in the future, we're talking about building a community center and all that.
That may be not done, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, if we're paying money to talk about that stuff.
No, we're talking about, this is just a grant for, a planning grant, that doesn't have anything to do with the the community center. We talked about doing that. This is not about that.
This is more to give you guidelines. We're going to be able to do the budget.
And also, look at the possibilities of growth in advance and how we're gonna handle that growth. And we're gonna, and we'll increase our sewer system, water system, upgrade our electric infrastructure. There's a lot of things that we're gonna get pushed to handle, but we don't have the money to handle it, we gotta do something. There's some ways that can be done. We get some big company to build something here, we can get a TIF district, we're gonna have to pay for a lot, but we gotta get it done. There's somebody gonna build a big program out there, 300 and 500, I don't know how that's gonna happen. The APC, the way, what is the Rural Development Corporation, wants to put something out there. But the APC does not want to use any farm ground for commercial. Same deal, your old buddy Mercer.
Yeah, sure they don't.
Well, APC is not the same as the state of Indiana and Lebanon.
You got it, here, this is bad,
Well, this is very bad.
this is bad.
Can we get a motion to approve this as a planning grant for us to look down the road what we're gonna?
I make a motion to serve the planning grant.
Okay. Second. All in favor, say aye. What's up next?
Amy's in contract,
When,
attorney agreement for 26.
okay, the legal contract for 26, $20,000.
It only increased the price from last year.
Okay, so it's $1,000 increase. Anybody have any problem with that?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept the legal services contract.
Okay,
From Taylor, Manal, Schroeder, Snyder, Letter, T-shirt.
and I sign right here.
Yeah, I think you can do that. And pretend to sign it.
Okay, all fair say aye. Opposed?
Go ahead and sign this one, right there,
That's it.
just for a copy, so she wants a copy. And she can sign the vote, and then give us it back.
Perfect. I would like to see her show up more meetings, so. I mentioned it to her.
You mean more than quarterly?
I'm thinking, I'd like her to show up at least quarterly. Excuse me.
She is this year.
Okay, get pretty close. If, that's the last thing.
I'll make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Amen.
All fair say aye. Sounds good to me. Keith, we need to go talk about this.
We're trying to keep the back driveway and stuff cleaned up, so you guys don't have to look at a mess back there.
Oh.
Working on it.
Did you show the arrow?
It's nice. I like your sunflowers too.
I was looking for that.
I just kept calling them up about these.
All right.
Thanks for meeting us. Oh, it feels
I have to
good.
take care of that because what was originally discussed with Tom. Because she was supposed to smell all the corners and now that's all. That's the only reason I agreed to it, because she said, well, people are doing, now it's on my shoulders. Yeah, it's a nightmare. So heavy.
They did. They're out there. We'll see what's going on. Okay. I think it's in the work. We'll see, okay?